Hey guys, how's it going? It's Dorr with Tactical Hyve. And in today's video, we're going to be covering the Triad of effective training. It's a system we have here at Tactical Hyve we like to put into practice, during our classes. So stay tuned. Hey guys, today's video is brought to us by CCW Safe. If you carry a weapon or are ready to use it for self-defense, God forbid, there's going to be a second fight post-incident. CCW Safe has this down to a science. Go ahead and check them out in the description below. Well, let's get to the video. All right, guys, so the Triad of effective training. This is something that I just we thought up right as the company was coming into fruition as we were starting out. I was, a full-time trainer in the military at the time, and I just wanted to make something that was super easy to understand and follow, and it's really more of a checklist, like a self-check. Sometimes you got to check yourself. You got to check yourself before you wreck yourself, as the old saying goes. And number one on the list is safety. No matter what you're doing, safety needs to be at the forefront. If you're not training safely, then you're not really training. You're just kind of screwing around, you're winging it, and eventually that can and will and often does come back and bite you, and they bite you where. So, obviously as you get into the more advanced levels of training, more advanced skill sets, there's no conventional safe way to, jump out of a plane at night with a bunch of equipment on, maybe land in the water, maybe not. But it's consistently done. And it's done safely because there's an understanding of what it takes to do so safely. So even doing something as crazy as that, or hooking and climbing on a ship again at night underway in the middle of the ocean. Not a safe thing to do, but if you know what you're doing and you understand, what the risks are and how to mitigate those risks, again, it can be done safely. And that you can take, those two examples, are kind of extreme, but you can come all the way back down to the very beginning, static, firearms training, etc. And as long as you understand what you're doing and you're doing it safely, that is number one. That is what is paramount, because eventually, if you deviate from that, you can and will have problems. And unfortunately, people often do. So at Tactical Hyve, we do offer some fairly advanced courses that require some fairly advanced skill sets. And there's a progression to get you up to that. And safety is always taken into account. All right, guys. Number two is consistency. When it comes to firearms training, be it in the tactical self-defense, real-world application, or, if you're into competition shooting or just being competitive on a standard range, in your, whatever you want to call it, tactical kit, you are going to achieve those tighter groups, those faster times, that dominance on the line, the bragging rights, whatever you want to call it, by being consistent. You're just able to be consistently correct with every repetition. And, there's that saying, practice makes perfect. Well, when it comes to firearms, when it comes to doing any of this stuff, at higher levels, I'm a firm believer that only perfect practice makes perfect. So I'm going to be as slow and deliberate as I need to be to make sure that all of my reps are consistently the same. And by the same, they are done correctly. And that goes for pistol, carbine, long range, hand-to-hand combat, anything. You want to have those consistent reps. There's been studies done throughout the ages about however many hundreds or thousands or whatever reps it takes to fully master something. And if you do not have a foundational base based on those principles, as soon as the situation pops off, as soon as you're playing catch up, as soon as, that timer comes out, you start to get nervous, you start to get anxious, you are going to sink to the lowest level of your training. And you want that to be a consistent, proper repetition for whatever it is. So that is, number two on the list. And, it is, almost as important as being safe, but not quite. All right, guys, number three is accuracy. Because obviously we are specifically talking about putting rounds on target. And, if you're on a plain Jane range, standing still, shooting at a piece of paper or steel or whatever it is that doesn't move, Yeah, is missing the end of the world? Of course not. So you take the opportunity, the privilege, the whatever you want to call it, of having those circumstances to train under, and you try to tighten things up and be consistently more accurate. So that way, as training progresses, as situations become more complex, more challenging, we are still able to accurately engage targets. And that is a true measure of success, that we're able to do so. We're not missing. We're keeping those tight groups. There's a rule of thumb, if you want to call it that, in training. At my last job and with our, like-minded brother, sister units, whatever you want to call it, on the training side, and that is your training groups in regards to your shot placement are automatically going to double under real world application, under real world stress. So we want to safely and consistently train to get those rounds on target accurately, with the understanding that those groups are going to be twice the size. God forbid we have to do any of this in real life. Or even, under the stress of, a competition. Competitions are a great way to test all this stuff out as well. And, if you haven't gotten into that, maybe it's worth taking a look. And then guys, after we've established what we're doing is safe, we're consistently doing it the same way to build that repetition, to build that muscle memory through consistency. And then it's paying off. We're safely and consistently achieving accuracy. That brings us right back to maybe we need to take things up a notch. Maybe we need to alter our training. Maybe we're ready to do things a little bit faster, a little bit more sexy, or whatever you want to call it. And that finds us in that triad loop of effectiveness. And as long as we are consistently, which is one of them, and safely able to achieve that accuracy, we're training effectively. We're making the best use of our time. We're making the best use of those precious rounds fired. And we are moving ourselves forward. We are progressing in our training and our capability. And that's what Tactical Hyve is all about. That's what, how I quantify what it is I'm trying to do in my classes, and what these videos are really about is giving you a path, a checklist, a system to be able to achieve, being the best you can. So thanks for staying with me. I just thought I'd share this with you. If you like the video, please give us a like, subscribe if you haven't already done so. We've got a amazingly large, vast back catalog of videos that, focus in on certain aspects of training, but all of those videos, we are adhering to that triad of effective training. So, thank you. Thanks again for being here. This is Dorr, out.